So from milking cows to managing a business at scale, Hans Nederend Jr shares his personal story of balancing animal care, environmental stewardship, biosecurity and employee engagement. So I welcome Hans now to the stage.
Our family has been dairy farmers for generations. My father, he immigrated to the United States in 1952 from the Netherlands. He worked hard, never took a day off, went in business in 1956, and then just started with 120 cows, him and his partner. And they just evolved through the years. We decided to purchase ground here in Idaho and started building a dairy. One dairy milks 4,900 cows, that's the original dairy, number one. Dairy number two milks 3,000 cows, and we own 9,000 acres total. My father had a saying that says, you take good care of your cows, they'll take good care of you. So sustainability, realistically, it was here yesterday, and it's here today, and it'll be here tomorrow. So we use responsible practices, protocols that we follow, working with our veterinarians and our nutritionists. And there's 5 pillars to that. Animal care is demonstrating excellent cow care. Also environment, protecting the environment for generations to come. Third is medicine, just antibiotics, vitamins, vaccines, just keeping the animal healthy. The other one is workforce development, that's just safe, exceptional work. The 5th pillar is biosecurity, safeguarding the herd and the employee health. And it's nothing magic, it's just that we simply wake up in the morning and do the very best we know how, and to make it a better day today than it was yesterday. Going forward, that each generation thereafter has something to stand for. Okay, just bear with me, I'm from the old school. This is a lot of technology. Anyways, this is truly the land of milk and honey, Australia and New Zealand. There's opportunities, there were opportunities, there's opportunities today, and there will always be opportunities. And quite often, it doesn't always appear that way, but that is the reality. The world will need food forever. I would also like to thank Peter Evans and Pete Irwin and Leon. The hospitality was great. They had taken us to 2 dairies. We went Monday to Ray and Leon Smith, and Tuesday to Jade and Belinda Climo, and they are building for the future, and that is the future. Today I'm here to talk about Farmers Assuring Responsible Management. This program demonstrates dairy farmers' ongoing commitment to the highest standards in the industry, doing what is right for cows, customers, and consumers. As dairy science evolves, alongside public attitudes and perceptions, the dairy industry must continue to show customers and consumers that we are holding ourselves to the highest standards of animal care. For example, in 1900, 60% of the US population lived on a farm. In 1950, 16% lived on a farm. Today, 1% lives on a farm. They are disconnected. 99% of the population is disconnected. The vast majority are simply not aware of the fact that we are doing everything, taking excellent care of our animals and our land. In 2009, a voluntary and cooperative effort was developed by veterinarians, nutritionists, universities, USDA officials, and dairy farmers. The farm program helps earn the public's trust, demonstrating that dairy farmers share their values. Today, more than 98% of the US milk supply comes from participating farms. The program is always being improved to produce the most nutritious food in the world. The 5 pillars are animal care, medicine stewardship, biosecurity, environmental stewardship, and employee development. Pillar 1, animal care. Animal care includes a veterinarian for herd health, with ongoing discussions about treatment of diseases, vaccination programs, milking procedures, and biosecurity, and a herd health plan with United States Department of Agriculture approved protocols. Animal care includes a nutritionist to provide a balanced ration with healthy feed ingredients. All rations, feed amounts, pen counts, and mixing loads are recorded. And in 1984, it was actually very similar to days like today. You had high interest rates, had turmoil in the financial markets, inflation. At that time, interest rates were 21%, so count your blessings. We're not there yet. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But the reality is those were tough, difficult economic times. So we, as a dairy, our family, decided to mix our own grain. And at that point in time, our cost of production declined, and our milk production increased, and we were able to survive those turbulent times. As part of animal care, we have freestall buildings to provide protection from the elements, with fans and misters for summer cooling, and doors and siding for winter protection. All milk cows have sand bedding because it is the most sanitary and most comfortable for the animals to rest on. Pillar 2, medicine stewardship. This program provides the safest and most wholesome milk possible. It is very important to always maintain and record herd health protocols. In 1982, we started using a computer for better record keeping. And in 2010, we started using RFID ear tags to identify our cows, and the computer system has all records for all stages of the animal's life. In other words, traceability from the day it's born to the day it's slaughtered. Pillar 3, biosecurity, provides for ongoing eradication of diseases that have plagued mankind for centuries, such as brucellosis and tuberculosis. With continuous cooperation with federal, state, and dairy industry, diseases will continue to be eradicated. A major improvement was animal vaccine development in the last century. And so I've been asked to talk about some of the personal things that we went through. And in the early 1980s, there was a brucellosis outbreak in Southern California and affected many herds, including our own. And it was very expensive. And finally, in 1987, the state of California decided to adult vaccinate our herds. And within 6 months, the disease was eradicated from the valley. Also, biosecurity requires continuous sanitation and cleanliness everywhere. One example is the milkers now wearing gloves and aprons in the barn. Another example is the automatic sanitizing system for cleaning milk pipelines and milk storage tanks. I remember in 1978, it was the first time that I'd ever seen technology, and it was actually just simply a milking machine that automatically came off, and the dairies obviously can relate with this, but that was quite an improvement. Before, it was always putting them on, taking them off manually. And just 2 days ago, I seen here in Sydney a robot delivering 4 pizzas to a table next to us, so that was quite entertaining. Historically, sustainability has always been improving. For example, in 1950, there were 22 million milk cows in the United States. Today, there are 9.4 million milk cows. In 1950, the U.S. produced 53 million metric tons of milk, and last year, 103 million metric tons. Double the amount of milk with half the number of cows. In 1950, milk production was 2,300 liters per cow per year. Today, 11,000 liters per cow per year, a 500% increase. 2.2% per year. If we were to extrapolate that over the next 50 years at 2%, cows will give 30,000 liters per year. And you may think to yourself, well, wait a minute, I don't know if that's possible. The reality is there are cows currently in the world producing 30,000 liters today in specific herds. In 1950, 33 million hectares of corn was planted in the United States. Last year, 37 million hectares of corn was planted. In 1950, the yield was 2 ton per hectare. Last year, 10 ton per hectare, a 500% increase, also 2.2%. At 2% annual increase for the next 50 years, that will be 28 ton per hectare. Yields will continue to increase because of advancement in science, thereby reducing the carbon footprint because of efficiencies. The result is that the United States is helping feed the world. 30% of all global corn exports, 34% of all global soybean exports, and 18% of all dairy products in the United States are exported. Efficiency and use of natural resources reduces the carbon footprint. Same amount of energy is consumed for animal maintenance. All yield above animal maintenance reduces the overall carbon footprint. Same amount of energy is used for planting and harvest. All yield above this threshold increases the amount to feed the world. Food security is strength. Any country who exports food is in a position of bargaining and strength. Do not be deceived. We must continue to export food to feed the world. A country that's exporting food, feeding its own, feeding others, is on the correct side of history and always will be on the correct side of history. One of the reasons for increased yield is the development of gene editing. For example, corn seed now has many traits that are insect, disease, and drought resistant, resulting in reduced pesticide use of 37%, and increasing farm yield 22% since its implementation in 1996. Employee development, fifth pillar. It is important for owners and managers to lead by example, and we work side by side with our employees. We provide continuous training and development for all employees, such as milking classes, teaching proper milking procedures, animal handling classes for safely taking care of animals, tractor training classes to safely operate equipment and using computer programs. In 1995, I had an employee, Raul, and he was a good man, worked for me for years, but I was having major discrepancies in my feed inventory. So I bought a computer, and I was showing Raul how to work this computer, and he looked at me and he says, "Boss," he says, "but I'm already a good feeder." "I understand, Raul. I'm going to make you a better feeder." And from that day forward, he was always precise. I was also asked to talk about our family business philosophy. And my father said, "Take good care of your cows, and they will always take good care of you." And it's also important for us to continue understanding with knowledge, to always learn and read, and counsel, to work with the best and the most competent professionals. A veterinarian for healthy animals, a nutritionist for proper use of feeds, an agronomist for healthy soils, a bank that understands agriculture, an accountant for business planning. In 1985, I needed a new accountant, so I called Paul Mulder, who I'd never met, and he says, "I'll be there this afternoon." And this is interesting. He says, "I'll be there this afternoon." And I was moving calves around in the back of the dairy, and all of a sudden, coming down the cow lane, is this man walking with black leather shoes, three-piece suit, in 105 degrees, and I said, "This is the man that's going to help me get to the next level." And sure enough, he's still my accountant today, almost 40 years later. It is important to adopt practical technology, to always move forward. Sometimes with technology, it's okay to cut your losses. I mean, it doesn't always work. Most often it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And we have to be prudent enough to recognize what is profitable, what actually works, and what doesn't work. Spreadsheets, to have detailed records of all entities. Each segment of your business has to have a spreadsheet with numbers, losses, expenses, income, everything detailed. The more detailed, the easier it is to run your business. Patience, to understand the value of compounding interest. Budgets, to know the direction of the business. Lessons learned from the 2009 recession. Now, Lord willing, that doesn't happen again, but there are some valuable lessons learned from the 2009 recession. One is maintaining the loan-to-value below 50% at all times. You always want to stay in the driver's seat. Responsible debt management and responsible expansion. And humility. Humility. Success is to recognize our personal limitations and maximize our talents. I can't sing or dance, I can barely speak, but I can milk a cow. And thankfulness, to always be grateful for the opportunities that we have to provide wholesome food for our country and for the world. Thank you.